All right. Sure.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to the wine tasting. I'm Ward Blakely, publisher of iJacks.com, joined as always with Jordan Logue, the Good Life editor, and our sommelier Chris Armstrong. Today we're going back to France and we're trying a Bordeaux. So Chris, let's pour and see what we got.
I mean, it's a great introduction to Bordeaux. Andre Lerton is a gentleman who owns the chateau. Chateau is Chateau Bonnet. One unique thing, or one thing that you're starting to see more commonplace, people have been intimidated by buying French wines because of the labeling. The labeling can be quite detailed and offsetting. They're listing Andre Lerton as, or at least Chateau Bonnet is, Cabernet and Merlot on their label, rather than just listing it as Bordeaux. It's 50% Cab, 50% Merlot. And again, I think this wine is a good introduction to Bordelais varieties. It's, first and foremost, looking at the color of the wine in this light.
Very ruby.
It is.
And that's kind of very typical of Bordeaux, that you would have you'd have a real kind of ruby colored, dark ruby colored wine. Isn't that pretty typical?
Across the board, generally speaking, yes. I mean, you can have Bordeaux in its youth, even you can have very dark and opaque. It could be a variety of things, but generally speaking, I suppose so. Outside of that,
well, the bouquet is subtle, but it makes me really want to taste it.
Which I just did.
And you can see the legs indicating a fairly high alcohol content.
Yeah, running slowly. Listing alcohol is 13 degrees, although it can vary 1.5 points, and I think it does in this particular situation. It's from a great vintage, highly rated vintage, at least 2005.
Yes.
It's extremely fruit forward. It does have some of
very much so.
That terroir, or the terroir of Bordeaux, but primarily
Tell
it's
us
fruit
what
driven.
that terminology means.
Terroir is an idea of a sense of place. It's everything that goes into the wine. The grape being a vehicle to truly represent what transpired in the vintage and the vineyard in that particular year, and that's for overall what terroir is. But again, this is a fruit forward.
It is.
And a wine like this is something that you would open Bordeaux's with their complexity. It's something that you certainly could open up in advance and let it breathe a while. I mean, I think if we left this open for an hour, came back to it, would be a little bit different wine.
Yes, it certainly would. And this is their entry level. We have another offering from Chateau Bonnet, but this is coming in at $11.99. It's again a good introduction for people to kind of taste what Bordeaux can offer. Again, though, I think that Andre Lerton is trying to appeal to those individuals who enjoy fruit-driven wine. But and that being stated, so people can kind of infiltrate into the idea of what Bordeaux can be about. This is a good way for them to start off.
And I think that there are some other wines from a very well-known vineyard that I think are maybe a little bit false and misleading. I think that this wine seems to be a pretty earnest attempt at a Bordeaux and at a price that obviously meets our qualifications, which is $15 and under.
Without a doubt. And they are getting what they're shooting for. He's definitely incorporating new world techniques. He's utilizing state-of-the-art operations to make his wine. So he's kind of going out of tradition, but in that he's able to keep his costs down, and therefore the result for the retailer and customer.
Well, I mean, I've noticed it just in the few minutes we've been talking about it, sitting here swirling it, exposing it. It is opening up more. It's
no, I know what you're talking about.
fruit forward is a good way to describe this.
Yeah,
It's
got bigger wheel. Yeah.
It's slightly complex, but an all-purpose wine.
Yeah.
I think it is. Let me see if you
Alcohol showing a little bit more through now than I am.
Yeah, we just go good with the soup on a weekday, or a roast chicken from the grill.
Right.
It kind of complements whatever it
Extremely
pairs
good.
with.
And this is also a very dangerous wine because one must be careful about one's wits while consuming Bordeaux.
Yes, must one.
But again, I think that the great thing about this little Chateau Bonnet is that, again, I like to really taste and support small production wineries, but I like the fact that people who have not or do not want to venture outside of the flavor profiles of the United States, they can have a fruit-forward Bordeaux and then start working their way out.
This is a very excellent, I think, representation, as you say, entree point into a Bordeaux. Obviously, we could sit here and talk for hours, and people have read thousands of pages on this stuff. But starting off with our patented 4-part wine categories, Chris, how would you rate this?
I certainly would buy this again.
I would buy this. I would gladly give it as a gift.
All of the above for me. And as a bonus section this time, we're going to ask Chris. We're going to start asking Chris a question as a sommelier. Chris, what do we do with the cork when we get it on the table? I know a lot of people say sniff it. People play with it. They put it in their pocket. What do we do with it?
There's a lot of ceremonies that go into the presentation of the cork, and the master cork sommeliers will tell you to place it down for your guest, and the guest can inspect it. People will smell the cork. People will inspect it and see if anything, if the runs of wine have come all the way up. Really, aside from, even when the wine can run a little bit in older vintages, the cork means nothing, and it's all just a ceremonial situation, just like dining room theatrics, like savoring, which we can go into in another show. It doesn't
keeps the oxygen out.
Right. But aside from, you can smell a cork, and that doesn't mean anything. But what I would do with a cork is simply kick it away. Not in the dining room, I suppose, but yes, try to get a feel. It doesn't.
Touchdown Gators, not Jaguars.
There's not. The only thing that one should be inspecting when being toward a taste of wine in a fine dining restaurant is the wine itself. I mean, the cork can lead you to maybe think some things, but in all, at the end of the day, it has no purpose.
I've kind of always figured if the cork comes out in one piece, the wine's probably going to be all right.
And I've fought with corks, and I've broken corks and bottles tableside as a wine steward, and the wine has still been sound. So really, again, it doesn't matter much at all. Now, the stove enclosures or screw caps, you certainly should smell those, I think, getting into.
Absolutely. But I think we'll go. This is a perfect exit and lead into the next wine tasting, which will be, and we'll take up the subject of screw cap versus cork. So,
I say buy a bottle of Chateau Bonnet, send us your comments.
indeed. Cheers.